everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Purpose and Profit Sisterhood podcast. I am Jeanette Anderson, your hostess with the mostess, and I am here today with the lovely couple, Carina Reeves and Matt Hilliard. So I'm happy you guys are here. Where are you calling in from? Where are you guys right
Oh,
now?
we're in Toronto. We're in
Toronto.
Toronto,
Okay.
Canada.
I didn't know you were fellow Canadians. So I'm from Calgary originally, but I live a polyhomorous life. So I get around a lot. And right now I'm in Florida, really loving it because I'm allergic.
Oh.
So I'll just rub it in. It's gorgeous
Yeah,
right now.
I may have that allergy evolving as
Yeah.
I get older.
I don't blame you. It did
Yeah.
get a lot more severe the older I got. Yeah. So let me tell you all a little bit about these guys. I'll tell you the official intro, and then we're going to talk about the fascinating conversation of how to go from bickering to bank, how to have a thriving relationship and a profitable business. So this is a unique show for us because we haven't had anyone come and talk about how to be a couple and work together. So we can't wait to find out some of the real secrets of what makes that work. Okay, so let me tell you about these guys. Entrepreneurs hire Matt and Carina to align their business and relationship into a thriving team because they're sick and tired of feeling alone and unsupported with conflict wearing down their bond and their bottom line. So they help them connect again like newlyweds while boosting their teamwork, productivity, and profits. Bottom line, Matt and Karina double their romantic and business success guaranteed. Love it. That's a really good. That sounds like a Jane M. Powers intro. So I love that. And how long have you guys been doing this work? I'm just curious.
So we're in the startup phase. So we are both transitioning from doing our own coaching, me with women falling in love with themselves, becoming their most empowered, incredible selves. And
I've been a relationship coach for individuals and couples for like since 2018 now. But
Okay.
we are combining our forces.
yeah, we're really excited to be in this startup phase. We had this vision that, a lot of couples, a lot of people in entrepreneur couples, they suffer alone. They want to have their relationship somehow magically get better while they take care of their business. And we got really excited about what we've already learned just starting to do it together.
Cool. That sounds really interesting and like a quite a journey. So I want to hear about the journey too. Oh, good, you're not frozen anymore. You guys were frozen there for a while. Um, so
Oh, okay.
so tell us about your why. Why do you do this work? What's your purposes?
Knowing firsthand the wear and tear that being in a poor functioning relationship can have. So the wear and tear on energy, on ambition, on on intimacy, on work, on rest, on purpose,
Mm,
and wanting to help people create a life where there's more balance, and our belief and our proof that we can have both,
mm,
and that when you have both, life feels amazing.
mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and adding on to that, the big picture, we love that entrepreneurs are creating change in the world. They're not just worker bees.
Mm,
We're the dreamers, we're the builders. And so for entrepreneurs who are changing the world to be able to come from and come home to a relationship where you're not walking on eggshells, where you're not,
Mm.
having magical thinking, you can actually come home and feel loved and nourished and recharging and connecting with each other and yourselves means that you'll have all that much more energy to build this beautiful world that we want to that we want to build. There's lots wrong that needs fixing, and I think entrepreneurs are the ones to do it.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that there's a lot of innovation coming, especially from maturepreneurs in the future, because that's a huge cohort coming into the marketplace right now. And a lot of them are actually people who are now empty nesters and are focusing on their relationship as well as building their business. They may or may not be in the business together, but they're certainly coming back to focusing on the relationship and their business. So tell us first, how did you meet each other, and how long have you been together? Tell us about your romantic journey.
We
And
have a vagabond cat in the background who really likes chewing and playing with paper. So
she wants to be on the podcast.
If you occasionally see us distracted, it's because she's currently wrecking my notebook.
okay, no problem.
So we met online. We are online dating success stories.
We are Bumble successes.
Yes. And can I tell the fun little known fact?
Yes.
So I was his very first date after divorce, after separation.
Oh wow.
He had
okay.
no intention of finding me.
Zero intention.
But the universe decided it was time for you to have everything you wanted.
It really was. The universe was ahead of me. I had some catching up to do when I realized what I had. I was like,
Right.
oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I love that framing of that there, Carina. So tell me, were you guys in the same city, or because you have a different accent, Matt, were you in the UK, or where did you meet and how?
Oh, yeah, good. Yeah, good question. So I've been living in Toronto since summer 1999. So I was married, I have kids, I'm a dad of two, so I've been, raising my children here. And so Toronto and Canada has been my home for a long time, but I fought really hard to keep my accent while I'm in.
And
Yeah,
while you
yeah.
should. All right. And
Right.
so what kind of business do you two work together on? So is it the coaching, the couples coaching? Tell us about your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want me to?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when we started to feel how we kept hearing stories of entrepreneur couples where they would head to divorce. They wouldn't be able to figure out how to balance this beautiful work that we're building and have a beautiful relationship. And so we knew we wanted to work with relationships. We
Mm-hmm.
knew that it really kind of blew our minds that having done our own work individually, having really dived into the self-development work for you, it was just a couple of years before divorce. For me, it was just after.
Yeah, before we met, we both individually just done a lot of work around what had occurred in our long-term committed partnerships that didn't ended up not working. Like why hadn't they worked? What had we created? What were we responsible? So easy to point to partners and be like, well, you should be more of this and you should be less of that. And that might be some of the problem. But to actually look at, what kind of who am I? What are my patterns? What's my contribution to this? So we'd done that work by the time we met.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that makes us special, unique. I think it was one of the core beliefs that we had heading into the work. I know I said it consciously to myself. I was like, okay, of all the things that I didn't like in my relationship, I know that I was a part of it. It wasn't just him. We both really, really leaned into taking personal responsibility, and both, we wanted a better relationship, but also being a bit obsessed with relationships. So you got a relationship coaching certification. I have a sex, love, and relationship coaching certification. And then when we came together, like literally from the first night, I was like, this is what I've been wanting. This is all the things of how to relate and connect and talk and feel free. Really feeling free felt really important to me. I wanted the fun of like feeling like myself, and bringing that into our work lets it be that entrepreneurs can also have that drive, right? To channel the drive to have incredible businesses. We are not a low vibe people. We are lit up people, and to feel that same self-fulfillment in relationships, I think that was part of what I got excited about sharing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, so tell us a little bit about what are some of the biggest problems couples have that work together. So typically what gets in the way?
So whether it's a couple that that work together or just one is an entrepreneur, there are some similar themes and patterns that happen. One one for sure is one or both not feeling like a priority, that the business or the businesses are more important than the other person, and that that sense of lack of importance in a relationship is really really degrading, and it's felt very very quickly. It can happen as soon as your partner walks in on the phone and spends 10 minutes on the phone before they even say hello to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing is to be able to balance still having time set aside for your relationship, so that, especially if the couple works together, so that talking about the business isn't 24/7, that there's times when the business is put aside, or there's times when it's just for having fun, just for connecting, knowing how to keep that. It's life work balance at a whole new level when you both are entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the practicalities of that, because one of the things that, I know if you're really passionate about what you do, it's pretty pervasive, like it's something that we don't just pick up and do 9 to 5. So how do you separate out, how do you keep the best business out of the bedroom?
Do you want to do that one?
I mean, you can literally have agreements to keep business out of the bedroom.
Mhm.
So, like for instance, we have a rule where we don't talk about business after a certain point in the evening. If ideas come up, like scribble them down, keep a notepad near. Things like phones and laptops in the bedroom can be a real intimacy killer.
Mhm.
So to have, and then so there may be phases of business, phases of growth, phases of a project where you do have to pull some all-nighters, where you do have to work late, and to define those as such, and then to be really conscientious and have some agreements with one another about, okay, outside of those high pressure times, what can we agree on around times when we put our phones down, times when we close our laptops, times when we don't talk about our businesses or only talk about like certain aspects of our business.
I just had this thought too, that I think it's how we are with ourselves as well. Like anybody who thinks about one thing all the time, you get burned out. You need to have variety. You need to have flow and fun. And so there's the agreements that you have with yourself or with your partner, but there's also meta agreements. And to me, that means, well, we might have an agreement, but if it isn't working, then let's notice that, talk about it, and change it. So to let yourselves pivot and be in the reflection of what's happening real time. Life's an experiment, you're going to try stuff, and sometimes it's not going to work, and letting that be totally okay, and creating something that does is really beautiful flexibility.
Yeah, and entrepreneurship itself is a lot about innovation and flexibility, and to bring that same kind of mindset to your relationship as well.
I just wrote down the quote, "Life is an experiment." I love that. I immediately saw it on the front of a t-shirt when you said that. Well, and let's talk a little bit about what to do when there's conflict. So what if you disagree in the business? It's challenging to work with partners, never mind having them also be your partner, but with partners at times, because you might have, very different perspectives, you might have different approaches, and that can be very good for the business, but it can also create conflict. So what do you do when you have conflict in the business in terms of how that then carries over into the relationship? How do you deal with that?
Ah,
You want to
okay,
lead
sure.
on this one?
I believe that along the lines of life as an experiment, then when you let your ego not run the conversation. So as long as I don't feel like I'm being shown that I'm not good enough or my ideas aren't good enough, and we both practice being in service to this third thing that we're building. It's a third thing. So one of the things that what we coach with couples is really being able to track your nervous system. You will feel like the world is ending, like you are an invalid human being if your nervous system has kicked up. We call it being triggered, we call it being activated. You'll want to defend yourself, and you can't work as a team at the same time as defending yourself. So in the same way that, I said, you want to learn to pivot and be flexible. It's the exact same thing for making decisions. So we'll literally say, oh, I'm getting a little activated right now. Can you give me a few minutes? I'm going to go calm down. We actually have a tool that we're going to be sharing at the end of this that we just think is essential for being able to stay open with each other. Then no decision is the end of the world. Literally, no one ever knows the real outcome. So worst comes to worst, you pick one and then you see how it goes. No one is dying on the operating table of coaching. It is all a grand experiment.
I really do. I think that's a very liberating approach to life. So, what has been one of the biggest challenges or growth hurdles for you two in terms of working together as a couple in a business? What's been one of the biggest things you've faced?
It's really the things that we talk about and teach right now. It's the places where maybe, and like you beautifully suggested, like places where maybe we have a different perspective on a thing, or different ideas about how to go about something. And though it can feel, like Carina was saying, it can feel so personal when like maybe Carina has a different way, and I'm like, what's my way? Like, and I can and I can quickly make that about me, like Carina was just saying. So I think it's those moments, and it's the same in a relationship where there isn't a business, an entrepreneurial business. It's, if I feel unheard, if I feel, a lower priority, if I feel like I don't have control, like all these things are triggers for us as human beings. So it's this, it's the same for us. Those things still happen with us. What we know is how to navigate those quickly and simply.
Yeah. Our current working dynamic of time and space is evolving right now. We haven't found our most perfect destination, and our allowance with each other that we get to be discovering it. We have some big changes coming in a couple of months. We have big changes coming in a couple of weeks. Letting it be that it's evolving as opposed to it should be perfect now. Let's now feel more perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the big challenges I think that people have in their relationship is like, and especially in entrepreneurship, it's like, I'll just finish this thing first, or I'll just get to this stage in my business, and then I'm going to focus on the relationship. So I'm going to put the relationship on the back burner, and I'll get back to it. But every single fucking time we do that, the relationship is like the foundations are crumbling. They're crumbling, they're crumbling, they're crumbling. So when we get back to it, with the best of intentions, there may not be much left, or it's going to be a colossal hike up to the summit or down to the depths to like do the work on the relationship that needs to be done. So what we do in our relationship is that we tend to it every day. We don't put it on the back burner. We tend to it every single day. So it's always a nice, pleasant, sexy, hot, inspiring place to be. Or if we do have an upset, it's just around the corner to get back to the relationship.
Right. So let's talk about money, because the number one thing that most couples fight about is money. And now you're in business together where money is a significant issue. And often people have different kind of what I call money set points, different beliefs around money, different attitudes. Yeah. And one or the other may come from lots of abundance and the other may come from scarcity. How do you navigate money in terms of, because not only does it impact your coupledom, but it also really impacts the business. So what are some of the conversations or tips or tools that you recommend people do when they're trying to now navigate through two money belief systems?
Yeah, it's a great question. We're lucky in a couple of ways. One is that we have similar beliefs about money. They're not all healthy beliefs, but at least they're similar, and we know that they're beliefs. Yeah. And the second is that money came up quite quickly at the beginning of our relationship. So we had the opportunity to actually look at some of the stories that we have about money and work through them.
Yeah.
So yeah, so just one of the tips is to really look at your beliefs about money and where did they come from. So see your stories about money as stories and beliefs about money. What did I learn about money from my dad? What did I learn about money from my mum? What did I learn about money from the society that I grew up in? And then kind of, sort of test them. Are they actually true? Do I still believe them, or are they still relevant? You have some great stuff on this.
Yeah, and I really feel that as you're practicing talking to your partner about money, maybe in a whole new way, to let yourself practice with some little things first. Don't try and do everything all at once. Right. Talk about something that's not as big a deal, so that I always see things in two levels, so that you're practicing talking about money as well as resolving the issue itself. And that practicing talking about money, I think, is even more important than any one particular decision.
Cool.
So wise.
So tell me what you mentioned that you've done a lot of personal growth work, both of you individually and together. What are some tools or resources or books that you would recommend that couples get so that they can have some help with conversations, framing, finding out how one another think and believe and so forth? What's some of the work that you did individually before and that you use now?
Shall I dive in with my favorite?
Do it.
Yeah. So the book that I recommend every single woman reads, whether you want to date men, whether you aren't dating men, just to understand and literally love men, is a book called The Queen's Code by Alison Armstrong. After I read that book, within a year and a half, I had 2 marriage proposals, and then I met the love of my life. It will fundamentally shift. Yeah, that's a little bit of a rousing endorsement. It will let you. Oh, sorry, we've got a little bit of a delay. Say that again.
That's what I was just going to say. I just said I'm going to go get that book right now. Yeah, we have really wonky video. I'm not sure what with that, but the audio sounds good. So that's why I kept on trucking here. But you guys keep freezing all the time. Tell me what other tools or resources or books you would recommend. How about Matt? What do you think?
There's a really marvelous effective listening tool, which is, the essence of it is listening to understand the other person's experience. And is should I get the blocks? Yeah. Okay. We'll give a quick demonstration. We'll do what not to do first, and what most of us have spent a lot of time doing and feeling really shitty about.
We give them I think we only have a few more minutes.
Okay.
So why don't we give them the acronym?
Yes.
Is that what it's called when it's the thing? So it's called LUFU, which is really weird. So it's easy to remember. LUFU, an acronym. Listening until feeling understood. So the only goal of the person listening is to reflect and to be a space where the other person gets to feel understood. So it's not about what I think about it. It's not my opinion about it. It's not my take 2 cents about it. All I'm doing is reflecting. And what's the other one?
So there's reflecting, there's active listening, which is like, yeah. Can you say that again? Like, I got a bit lost by what you were saying. I zoned out. Can you just repeat the last thing you said? Like active listening, reflective listening, and validating, which can be as simple as that makes sense. It makes sense why you feel upset now. And to be able to, in a place where I can validate, I really need to be putting my ego aside. I really need to be turning my curiosity up to 10. And it can feel like the last thing we want to do when we're activated is to listen and validate. But what so many couples do is like, okay, I heard what you said, but here's what I think. And so it's 2 people going back and forth. But if one can just step down and be like, tell me why you feel that way. Okay, that makes sense. Why, like I did totally forget to do that thing. It makes sense why you're frustrated and annoyed right now.
Literally, I cannot help but take a deep breath. Like literally, I feel myself calm down. I feel held. I feel seen. I feel accepted. And it is a magic maker. It's one of the things that we teach in our master class. If anybody wants it, just comment below on this video and we can send you a little outline of it. Yeah, it really changes everything. It changes the goal, it changes the focus. Then the person sharing gets to receive our attention. It becomes a win-win as opposed to competing for attention.
And a little extra for experts. This technique, you can use it with clients, you can use it with colleagues and employees, children, parents, and it's just a really fantastic way of people feeling seen and heard. It's an incredible sort of conflict thing, de-escalator. So just super valuable.
I like that. Lufu. I'm going to type it into the comments there. And so tell people, you mentioned a tool or a tip that you have. Tell them about the gift that you have for them and how they can get that.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we're super excited about our gift. It's called No More Fighting in 1 minute or less. And it may take a few minutes to learn, but honestly, once you learn this tool, it lets you know what your nervous system needs in the moment, and it lets you share what you need with your partner in a way where they feel included instead of blamed. So it's nomorefighting.love, www.nomorefighting.love. And it's just 4 simple steps, little bonus step of celebrating. And it is easy. We believe in having tools that are easy, that you use every day. I should give a proviso. They can be difficult to do at first, not because they're complicated, but because you're rewiring your nervous system. Yeah. So be brave, lean in, do it messy. It will pay off 1,000-fold. We need new tools for new relationships.
Oh, that's such a great line too. So tell people how they can find you two.
Yeah. So we like we like posting. We're on Facebook and on Instagram. And you can send us an email at hello@thrivingcouple.life. hello@thrivingcouple.life. And we're going to be having a masterclass coming up. And once you get our opt-in, then you'll be in our mailing list.
Yeah, so if you sign up to nomorefighting.love, you'll be on our mailing list and you'll get information about the upcoming masterclass we have. And we'll be delighted to see you all there.
Telling all of our tricks and secrets.
Okay, and so say the gift again. So it's www.nomorefighting.love.
.love. Yeah, there's all sorts of fun handles now because .com's getting full.
Yep.
So
exactly.
we picked No More Fighting Love.
Love it. Okay, awesome. All right, I've got it here in the comments. Whoopsie, my screen just fell down. So I got it here in the comments. I'm so happy that you two are here. And it's so, even though you froze a lot, every time you unfroze, you were looking at each other with love. So that was very sweet to see. And I really, I think this is a wonderful conversation to have because it applies not just in terms of married couples, but also partners in business, even if you're just project-based partners.
Yeah.
How do you bring some of these same skills, information, and tools to those conversations? Working with any of your stakeholders, including kids, community members, etc. So I think it's valuable work that you're doing to put more love in the world and more love back in business and business in, in relationships as well. So thank you so much for being here. Reach out to them. Make sure you go and get nomorefighting.love. Go and get that resource so that you can use it and apply it with whomever you are working with and loving, and reach out to these guys at their site as well. So tell them your website one more time.
We are having our own websites right now. We haven't built the mutual website yet. So you can just find us on the socials. We're talking about relationships all the time. Yeah. Carina Reeves and Matt Hilliard Ford.
Yeah. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Thank you so much for having us. We love talking about this. So
yes, I get that. So what's one last thing you'd like to leave everyone with, you guys?
Be kind to yourself and be kind to each other. We're all doing our best humaning. And the more we can listen with patience and curiosity, the more relationships will thrive and flourish. And the more we can put that energy, instead of fighting, into an incredible, beautiful world.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that. And please take this, if you're listening to this on the podcast channel or in Facebook, if you're listening to this, wherever you're listening to it, please comment, please like and share it. Love if you subscribe on the podcast channels. But more importantly, I'd love you to get the word out about this topic in particular. So please share this episode with any people that you know that are working with someone that they love, or thinking about it, or even if they're just someone who might want to be better with partners in general. Please share this episode of the Purpose and Profit Sisterhood podcast. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a bodacious week. Bye for now.